of the Graduate Certificate in Healthcare Innovation and Director of Academic Alchemy for the VCU da Vinci Center for Innovation. At any point in this conversation or in this presentation, please feel free to ask questions, pop them in the chat, and then anyone on the recording, our email addresses are at the end of this presentation. That's also emailed out with the recording. Feel free to ask questions to Ingrid or I. We are here to get to know the humans that you are and help you understand if this program is right for you. So welcome and thank you. And Ingrid, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ingrid Pretzer-Aboff. I'm at the School of Nursing. I'm an associate professor on faculty. I am also the co-director, as Allison is, of the certificate program. I'm an inventor. I'm co-owner and co-founder of a company called Resonate Forward, which has been around since 2014. And I work on inventions, and I have one right here that I just got in the mail, and I was going to try. I'll show it to you. The first prototype. I work with vibration devices, and we're looking at the effect it has on people with Parkinson's in terms of motor function. So tremor, gait problems, and all of that. And I've got several studies that we're doing, randomized controlled trials, looking at its effect on people's freezing of gait, which is a difficult walking pattern, making them really susceptible to falling and injury. So the device I have in front of you, do you want to see it? Is now the time?
Yeah, let's do that now. And then we'll introduce the program and give all the details. Yeah.
I'm so
Why not look at an invention first for the introduction of an info session on healthcare innovation?
So I've always worked with Parkinson's patients the majority of my career. So I'm really excited for the first time to an idea popped in my head. This is a decade ago. And a lot of research in the literature, the need for this, working with the population, and then figuring out what we could do and trying it. Was to use vibration on tremor in this case. So this is the armband, Resonate Forward's written on it. Mm-hmm. And we shipped it out to somebody that can manufacture it for us, and they designed the band, put it on our arm, and we have it up on the upper arm. It turns on through it. And this one's easy to wear, actually. It's a smaller size. And then I went to try on the bigger size, first prototype. I'm going to keep saying that. It's the first prototype, and I broke it. I didn't even get it on my arm. And the reason I have it is to give them input. So my first, you see how that looks really crooked?
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't work anymore.
Oh, no.
Not at all. It took me
I think it's a prototype
from box to arm to break it. So this is what we do. We test things. We make sure it makes sense for the patient. And we send back our feedback. And it's a constant feedback mechanism and iteration of design, et cetera. Which my career growing up as a nurse, we just didn't have access to this information. And so super excited to be working with Allison Da Vinci Center in that we could put information together that now me, the nurse, 20 years ago, could have learned how to put this thing together and move this project forward for patients many years ago. So we're now in the age where this information could be pulled together. We could do some marvelous things.
Yeah, that is hitting the nail on the head for what this certificate program is about. We've been able to hear from healthcare professionals while creating this program that there are so many solutions that care providers can come up with, and they see the problems in everyday life. And we also have people, sorry, let me elaborate. They may see the problems, but may not actually know how to get them produced or be able to implement them. And then on the other side, we have people in, biomedical engineering or getting an MBA or the arts who want to make an impact in healthcare, have an interest in working in healthcare, but don't necessarily want to be a care provider, but need to understand the regulations and perspectives coming from the healthcare side. And that's what this partnership is about from Da Vinci and for the School of Nursing to bring those things together. And so Ingrid and I are going to give some examples of healthcare projects that have happened in the past. This is a new program, so we just kicked it off in fall of 2020, so it's only about a year and a half old. So the examples we'll give are coming out of collaboration between the hospital and VCU proper, and but it'll give you an idea of the types of problems that we're working on and the types of products we've been able to produce. That is until our new students in this certificate really get going and start producing and creating some really amazing products. We'll also go through all the details of the certificate program, really showing you what we have to offer in terms of resources, and then, how to apply and all the deadlines and the details that most potential students come to an information session for. So let's see, Ingrid. So when you first started, I just want to interview a little bit in terms of what you've done. So, can you talk a little bit about some of the issues you had at the beginning? You had this idea for a product, and kind of give us the short story on how you went from that idea to rolling it forward.
I actually kept on falling into answers and also running into boulders at the same time. So I had this idea, a group of us talked. It's never usually one person that comes up with a great idea. It's usually a team effort. So I did a lot of research. I worked with people across campus at a different school I worked with before who discovered that I worked with Parkinson's patients, and I discovered they were starting to look at vibration as possible treatment for this population of patients. So they didn't have the health knowledge. I didn't have the mechanical knowledge, but we put our brains together, listened to the evidence that the physician had in India, and all she had was an antidotal. So it's a train story. She had patients from India that came all over to this Mecca. It was a All India Institute of Health Science. It is the place to study. It's the place you go if you have really difficult issues with healthcare for patients. And she noticed that her patients in the clinic that took a train into the clinic walked better when they were in the clinic. And she had noticed it herself. She also had family members say, why does he walk for you better than he walks for us at home? So she listened to this story for a bit, and then she contacted an engineer who contacted me. It just kind of the stars lined up. And we decided, let's study this phenomena. So if you tell an engineer that, it trains vibrating, and they turn around and make you shoes that vibrate like a train. So we tested that. So that's how it started. So by then I had my PhD, so I know all about the research. I'm a senior nurse researcher right now. So I knew how to put together a study that we could test this phenomena on patients with Parkinson's disease. So we did. We put them on patients. We looked at various different things, and lo and behold, it was the people that had the most difficulty walking that did the best. So that's where we started, but we built everything on research and what we could do. Then after the success, I ended up going to back to the university, and people heard about it. Somebody started pouring in from anyone, donations from people with Parkinson's, without Parkinson's. People were interested, and all opportunities occurred where I could get more money to do research and development, but I didn't have the know-how. So we connected with the university like we have here that could take you through the process. But what is the process? Well, I'm still learning through the certificate health program, and I keep listening to Allison talk. There's a lot of things, a lot of knowledge out there that this group has that we could tap into for any product, project, process that we're interested in, that they could help us. So I came here, and I feel like I'm a kid in a candy store. Literally, you have a store too, Allison, that I just...
Oh, we're going to tell you about it later.
Yeah, but I'm bumping into all the right people on this campus, and it's not physically bumping into them. It's like, oh, I know this person can do that, or I know this person. It's the networking power of the certificate program that's amazing. So everything has moved fast forward since I arrived here, including these prototypes. I'm just thrilled with them. And I really need to get these on the arms of the people that need them, and they want them. All our patients that we did the studies on want it. They're asking for it. But now I finally have a way of getting it to them. So I started as a kernel of an idea. I didn't let it go. I guess I'm like a pit bull, and I just kept on. I can't let this go. This seems successful. So let's go. I never intended to be an entrepreneur. Some would argue I'm still not, but I never intended to do that. But I'm thinking what I do intend to do is help the patients live a better life, more quality. And they keep asking me for help. One of them made me promise I wouldn't give up. That's how, in a nutshell.
That's excellent. And it is a big challenge, and getting healthcare products out there can take a long time. Just kind of depends on a lot of different factors. But
and one factor in this case is the need is not been alleviated. These patients need help. Nothing else is substituted for. So the need and the assessment of need is ultra important, and that's where our leadership program and the courses we take really dive into.
Yeah, absolutely. And collaborate so well together. I absolutely love this. In fact, one of our faculty for the nursing side of things currently runs the Innovation Center through the School of Nursing. So we have two different innovation centers that are basically collaborating together here to make this certificate happen. But trying to give really the introduction to what this looks like and to help create that network. We host speaker series and those kinds of things to help introduce you to people who have done this stuff successfully, so that you have connections and have the ability to step things forward. So, or at least know how to step things forward when the right opportunity comes to call. So let's dive into some of this information. I'll get into the examples from the healthcare stuff that we've done in Da Vinci when we start talking about classes a little bit. But first, let's talk a little bit about the resources that we have here. So just looking at, what this certificate offers, because it is only 12 credits. You can take 1 to 2 years to complete it. So it can be stretched out. You can take one class at a time. We have our first student who's going to be graduating in just a year's time. She just took 2 classes and she's about to be finished. And so it's kind of up to you how quickly you want to finish this certificate program and when you have the time. And we understand that healthcare workers right now don't necessarily have a lot of time or energy to contribute, to an educational program. But for those that do, we are welcome with open arms here to be able to meet you and get to know you. So in our resources here, we do host networking events. There are a lot more of these now for a reason I'll explain a little bit later, but we do invite these students and alumni of this program to come together for several events in order to get to know people. We also welcome you to, as a student in this program, to friend us on LinkedIn, look at our networks. If there are people you want to meet, we will help introduce you to them. That is part of this process, and we just want to help you, get where you want to be. The speaker series that I mentioned, we just started last fall. We're going to have 3 speakers come this spring and just kind of get a read on how much the students really want out of this. We did invite Christina York from, oh my goodness, I have brain fog. Ingrid, can you remember the name? Oh my gosh, I'm going to struggle here.
No, I'm not.
But Christina York, she runs a medical startup that, and she came to speak and really spoke so much to what Ingrid had just mentioned in terms of the need of patients and making sure that, kids or really anyone have an engaging way of getting up during their treatment while it was a long stay in the hospital, getting their physical activity, but actually helping healthcare providers log that time and how active they are and how much they are up and moving around, and maybe not just taking the patient's word for it, especially a child, who's like, oh yeah, I got up, I did my walking, I did my exercises kind of thing. And she has done just an amazing job at really looking at the patient need. And she spoke so well to our students, and they really appreciated that experience. So I'm sorry, I will Spellbound. Spellbound is the name. So they do VR and AR gaming in order to create a gamified situation where you interact with various different things within your room, and then it records your movement and those kinds of things. We'll have a lot more from startups, medical startups, and other medical professionals and people who have worked in this space throughout that speaker series. We have a mural board that is dedicated to the cohort. So this is all alumni and all current students who have access to this. And this is where we will post potential job opportunities, internship opportunities, our schedule for our speaker series, university resources, and all kinds of things, just so you have one place to be able to go. If you've never used Miro, it's a pretty great program to be able to use. We also give all students who register in this program free access to the Adobe suite. We believe creativity and the ability to have the tools to create various different things is a necessity in the world of innovation and product creation. VCU offers free tutorials. They're part of LinkedIn Learning, and so it's open to every student who is a student at VCU. So you can either be self-trained or you can work in our classes and those kinds of things to learn some of these. But if you're interested in app development, using XD, Adobe XD is an excellent resource to be able to help you code that out without having to necessarily be a coder. So some free resources there. You can also check out the events that could potentially be open to you now, both on the School of Nursing website and the Da Vinci Center website. These are active links in this slide, and that slideshow will come out to you as a follow-up since you signed up for this information session. So looking at spaces and tools. So between the Da Vinci Center and the School of Nursing, we have lots of spaces if you choose to be on campus. If you want to be here on campus, we have places for prototyping. We have places for you to test those prototypes, to put things in front of users and actually get feedback in that. So down below, you'll see the first picture. That's 807 South Cathedral Place. That is where the Da Vinci home offices are. But there is a vault in there with 3D printers and laser cutters and 3D scanners and all kinds of things. There's lots of hand tools. And I mean, you can do a lot of woodworking if you want to, if you need to do some sewing, all kinds of things. There's also a computer lab there with CAD, if you know how to use CAD or you want to learn how to use CAD to do 3D drawings. All of that is there, and there's lots of materials that are already in the space for students to use. The next picture over is what Ingrid mentioned a minute ago, which is the Shift Retail Lab. We see this as the classroom of the future, similar to going through STEM labs. If you took, of course, taking biology and chemistry and those kinds of things, we consider this the lab for innovation and entrepreneurship. So it is a space for students to bring their own products and get feedback. We do sessions for Feedback Fridays. And so a few Fridays each semester, we bring people in from the community. We bring investors, we bring people with interest in this space, and we let them know that you're going to be there, and they come in and give you feedback on your product. Also, if you have a product, medical related or not, you can sell it in this space. So, given the right approvals, right, for anything that's medical. But we have students who create vegan jackfruit jerky. We have students who sell their artwork. We have students who resell like very expensive tennis shoes, all kinds of things. But this space is intended for people to be able to retain 100% of their money coming out of it, but really be a space for students to learn about the product experience and get feedback from users. The next space over is right next door to the Shift retail space, which is right across from the Siegel Center, where we get to play basketball. We even host tailgating events there. But those are our classroom spaces at Da Vinci, and they're open for people to use, but that's primarily where you would be in that space with faculty learning. If you are taking in-person classes, we also offer them online, and we'll elaborate on that more. And then there are also lots of common spaces and study spaces in the School of Nursing, which is that last image there that you can see. Great opportunities to be able to collaborate with people from different backgrounds. In this program, you get to be working right alongside Master of Product Innovation students and alongside students who are full-time in the Nursing Leadership Program. So it's pretty great, lots of opportunity to meet many, many people. Let's see, is this my slide? I always have to look.
Yeah,
I think this one's yours.
Oh, deadlines. So
yeah.
We close, this is for the summer.
Yep.
We close March 15th, yep. And the summer starts in June or July, depending on the course you're taking. I believe it's might even be a little earlier than June. And then we also have fall 2022, which closes also March 15th. Is that date correct?
Yes.
Okay. So just let us know which one you're interested in, the summer or the fall, if you know. And then the spring, we have a November 1st deadline. So it's pretty much all year round that you could fill out your applications. And these are the deadlines for the different semesters.
And I do need to confirm the error you just pointed out. Yes, the nursing class in summer of 2022 starts at the end of May. You are right about that. The Da Vinci courses start in June and July. But yeah, I'll update that before this slideshow goes out to everyone. I think the next one's on you too, Ingrid.
Part-time, I think we covered this just a little bit, but it's worth repeating. 1 to 2 years it takes to complete it. If you go full-time, that's 2 courses each semester, spring and fall. It could take a year. Nursing courses are offered online. They're asynchronous. You could take them at your leisure. I don't know anybody taking nursing courses at leisure.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it leisure.
Yeah, okay. At a time convenient for you.
Yes.
Da Vinci offers online courses, so students may complete the program fully online. But Da Vinci, if they do have an in-person course, it'll be after 5 o'clock to accommodate the working professionals. The summer and the fall deadline was March 15th, and you could apply through the graduate school, the VCU graduate school. So the certificate is 12 credits. You get 6 credits are from the VCU School of Nursing Leadership Program and 6 credits from Da Vinci Center Master of Product Innovation Program. Nice part about this is if you are already in the master's program for either the School of Nursing Leadership Program or for the Masters of Product Innovation, then you just need 2 more courses in the other specialty to fulfill that, that need.
Excellent. And I do want to mention about the asynchronous nursing classes. Even though they are asynchronous, there's still a lot of group work and engagement with other students in the courses. That is something that our students have been very excited about. They were a little concerned, like, oh, I just go on here and learn, listen to lectures and take tests. That is not what it is. It is very much applied and experiential in that too. So you can learn from each other.
Right. I think the whole entire certificate program in both of the entities, both schools, are very hands-on.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. I think
that's just one, but I got it. You need a bachelor degree from an accredited college or university to apply. The GPA of 3.0 or higher on a 4.0 scale. Exceptions are made though. We're doing a holistic review of each applicant. So if you've got life experiences that really speak to what you want to do and you're really passionate about this, we absolutely will consider you for admission. GREs and GMATs and MCATs are not required for this program. In terms of non-native English speakers, if you've not previously been awarded an undergraduate degree taught in English from a university located in the US, then you would need to provide evidence of proficiency in English. And that's using one of the 3 elements. You score 100 or higher on a TOEFL, a 6.5 or higher on a IELTS. I think I'm making that up.
IELTS, I guess, is I think how they pronounce that acronym.
Not sure.
IELTS, yep.
And then there was one other thing on there, passing score on VCU English language program. It's a comprehensive test. So for the School of Nursing, we have 3 courses that we offer that we feel fulfill the need for understanding healthcare and where innovation steps in. So the 3 courses are Summer 603 is taught, and that is about, let me get my notes. It's improvement science and outcomes management. It emphasizes the quality and safety science, which is very important to innovation. Whether it's a product, we keep saying product, and I'm into products, but it could be processes. It could be how we're looking at big data. It could be a lot of different things. It does not have to be an actual product that you have in your hand and you break after 20 seconds when you open the box. Emphasis is on quality and safety, techniques and tools for analyzing an organization and their clinical processes. Root cause analysis, very important. So things happen, there's a problem, you're trying to figure out what led to the problem and how could you fix it. Medical errors, same thing. So measuring outcomes, which is important to see if whatever you're deciding on or whatever innovation that you have really meets the need that you intended. And regulatory and regulations to monitor safety are included, which is also quite important. In the fall, 2022 is right now is 515, and that is a holistic healthcare. So it's a look at leadership with concepts, looking at how you lead. That may feel uncomfortable for you, but you really need to understand how you lead and how the organizations lead and how society lead and how they intermingle with each other. So when you have an idea of a product, you really know how to bring it into the healthcare system. I had one person, knowing that I worked with Parkinson's patients, had an idea, and it was to get people to exercise. So he had an app on a phone that would ring and alarm, and the patient would be told to exercise. I'm sure you're all familiar with those. avatars. Well, I put it on 3 patients and all 3 of them said, well, I just turned the alarm off. So like, we didn't really see a need there that they were fixing or a need there that they were addressing. They just wanted me to test it and they thought it would work conceptually in their head. It made sense. So back to the courses. So 515, I talked about a little bit, and 517 is a 3-credit course, Implications for Human Material Resource Management. So this covers managing conflicts, influencing a culture of diversity. This is foundation of human resource management. Law is involved, a job analysis, design, leading a group of people through all those different events and understanding how that works in the healthcare space. And then there's a lot of different Da Vinci Center courses that Allison's going to go through briefly, but so that you know, it depends on what your ideas are that will steer you in a direction of one of those courses. So go for it.
Right. Yeah. And just as a caveat to add on to yes and what you just said, in the event that I'm about to give you an info dump and you don't know how to decide between these classes, feel free to reach out to Ingrid and I. We are happy to talk through your goals and what you want to do, and then we can help you figure out which classes will be best. And you can always take more than 12 credits, but 12 credits is just the minimum. So just looking ahead to summer, the most recent or the most, the soonest semester we're going to come across here. We are offering most of our classes in the Da Vinci Center online this summer. Officially this fall, we can offer the certificate fully online. I can't always guarantee that every Da Vinci class will be offered online, but there will always be enough for someone who wants to, enough credits available online for anyone who wants to complete this fully online, so that you don't have to move to Richmond or commute to Richmond. But I just want to give that caveat. So Inno 600 is normally, it's a 3-credit course, and it's normally what is fulfilled by the European Innovation Academy. So it's called Integrative Design, and it is normally we travel to Portugal or to Italy and we go through the entire product design process in a matter of 3 weeks. You go from idea to pitching to investors, all the way through in just 3 weeks. You get mentorship from, executives from Google and Twitter and Amazon and Ducati, and basically like name a big company, and they're there and they mentor students. Obviously, COVID has interrupted that a little while. We won't know if we can travel internationally this coming year, but it is something where Da Vinci covers your accommodations while you are in that space. If you're part of the Master of Product Innovation program as well, we also cover your ticket to EIA. And then that way it's just your flight and your food that you cover. But this is an incredible opportunity. It's just, if you are looking to really understand how products and entrepreneurship is done, that is an incredible way to kind of understand the full process from inception to investor. The Inno 691 course. So there's a series of these courses. There's one we're running right now that will also run in the summer that will be 3 credits. It's about 8 weeks long. And it incorporates 3 different accreditations or certifications in design thinking. The other courses that we teach, I'm going to give you more details on that one in a minute, but the other courses that we teach are 1-credit short courses. So they usually run anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks in the summer. They may just run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or you may take a short course in just 4 days in Scrum Master certification, but you're in class for 4 hours each day, and then you test out to be a certified Scrum Master in the end of that. So these are different courses that you can kind of piecemeal together to fit the needs and understand the topics and innovation that you're really interested in. And I'll give you some examples of those on the next slide. For fall of 2022, we offer a course, Inno 502, which is Business Principles for Product Innovation. This is taught by an international business consultant, and he specializes in innovation. He's been teaching in the Master of Product Innovation program since its inception, and he's an incredible person. He is the favorite faculty member of my current cohort of master's students, and I say that, and I'm also faculty, kind of, yeah. Excellent class if you are unfamiliar with business strategy when it comes to developing products and really engaging in innovation. That is an excellent course for you. We also sometimes offer 691 courses, prototyping courses, and those kinds of things in the fall and the spring, but those are a little less regularly scheduled than you would see as those short courses that we offer in the summer. The other optional class that we have here that you won't actually see in the bulletin paired with the certificate is INO 590. And this course is the one that I teach, and it's where you actually get to engage in developing a product for a nonprofit, a startup, a corporation. We go out and find the problems through corporate partners and bring them back for students to work on. So the problem has already been identified and validated in some way. And then the students work to actually solve for that problem, build prototypes, test them, give the pitches and presentations so that these products can actually go forward and become live things. So it is an applied project that gives you that real world experience. And this is where I can give you some examples. So I'll give you my favorite one first, and then I'll give you some examples of other things that we've done. So an actual physical product that we developed. My students looked at me like I was crazy when I handed this to them. They had backgrounds in graphic design, tourism, and hospitality, and we had a biomedical engineer who hadn't really built many physical prototypes in his life. We partnered with a cardiac surgeon from Chippenham Hospital, who his primary job is the installation of pacemakers. And when you install a pacemaker, there's a pocket that's cut in the pectoral muscle where the battery is stored. And about 2% of that time that fills with blood and plasma and creates a hematoma. And so he had this idea for something that would be able to prevent the hematoma without having to put a 10 to 15 pound sandbag on the patient's chest post-op. So the students on this team were able to actually scrub up and go in and watch what they did when the care providers are pressing down, trying to prevent the hematoma after the surgery is over. They were able to measure that pressure to understand that yes, 10 to 15 pounds is the correct measurement. And then they were able to create a physical device that goes across your body, Velcros to the side. Patient doesn't have to be in an arm sling like they normally would. And then they have an air bladder that is right over top of where that incision is, and use the same kind of pump you would use to do blood pressure. It inflates it, and then you see the reading to see that it's 10 to 15 pounds of pressure. Now that patient no longer has to be shallow breathing and laying down, possibly creating readmission issues, but they are able to get up and walk around and have the right amount of pressure to prevent that hematoma, which is just fantastic. Now they did this in a class, but it didn't stop there. They actually formed a legal entity formed a business with this cardiac surgeon. We're accepted into Mass Challenge Accelerator down in Austin, Texas, and have worked to get this thing patented. That's why I can talk about it so freely. And now they're licensing it out for production to actually go into use, and they get to reap the benefits of that without actually having to run a medical device company, which I know a lot of care providers love what they do, don't necessarily want to be an entrepreneur. And so there is that option to patent and license. Other examples, I'll just give you the problems that we worked on. This past fall, I worked with a team who was working to create an at-home test to determine whether or not your runny nose is coming from a virus or an allergy, which is pretty cool. So it wouldn't tell you what you have, but it would tell you one or the other. Perfect timing, and in a time where all of us many of us are used to taking lateral flow tests for COVID. Really use that as inspiration. They did all kinds of different types of testing for this, and they actually figured out the science for it, which is pretty cool. We did another one for it's called narcotics waste management. And basically we had a nurse in our hospital that identified that anytime a patient has a narcotic that they are in for inpatient use, whether they use 1 milliliter or 99 milliliters of that 100 milliliter cartridge, the patient is charged that full price and the rest of it is disposed of. And so this nurse is like, can we create a valve that doesn't have a backflow so that we can use the remaining narcotic for other patients and only charge them by the milliliter? Biomedical engineering at VCU took that, but we looked at it from a much larger open stance there. We said, how might we reduce the waste of narcotics in the hospital? And this team took this problem. They were able to get data from one unit to really understand on average how many milliliters a patient uses. Is about 35. They did research into what kind of equipment the hospital already had, so they wouldn't have to spend more money on new equipment. And then they looked at procurement, and it turns out there's 50 milliliter cartridges that are available for these machines. So in the calculations, figuring this out, they are able to save patients $1.2 million per year and save the hospital about $700,000 per year just in this one unit of the hospital. So speaking to the innovative processes that can really, save a hospital money or really have an incredible outcome that Ingrid was talking about earlier. I think that's a really great example of it. I have so many more examples of things that we do. We have a great collaboration between our hospitals. So if you're interested in hearing more of those examples, definitely reach out. Happy to tell more stories. I have so many. Let's move on to the spring semester. This is where there really is a heavy engagement. The 651 course is the first half of the capstone course for the Master of Product Innovation program. This course is 6 credits in itself. So it's one course completes the requirement for the certificate. Now this one involves you actually have to pitch. You have to pitch an idea of a product that you already have conceived of, that you have a starting point with. You understand the problem you're trying to solve, and you have kind of a starting point for what you think the solution might be. So you have something to prototype and test going into this course. This is a Master of Product Innovation course that is in person right now. It can be taught remotely, but it is not ideal. Just talk to us if that's your plan. If you already have a product in mind, this is an excellent course for that. And we step you through from your inception to validation, to prototyping, to testing, getting in front of mentors and investors and various things. Just depends on the need of your product. But this is where a lot of networking can happen in this course. So if you have a product in mind, it's an excellent one. The other one, we also offer other 691 courses, like I said, for fall too, that can be anywhere from 1 to 3 credits. So just depending on how much time you have to spend. All right, so to give a little bit more detail on these courses, you can see what these topics courses are that we're offering. This first one, Innovation, Design Thinking, and Change Management. I just want to let you know that in fall, this course will convert to being Inno 610. And will be added to the certificate as an open option for anyone. And we're just making it a permanent class because it's been so popular and so helpful for graduate students all around the university. So this course is where you get the 3 design certifications in design thinking. You learn a lot about change management, which helps balance a lot from the leadership program, but really thinking about innovation and design and how that can work in change management. These are really examples of courses that we taught this last year, and the new schedule for summer will be published soon, definitely before March. So you kind of know which options are there, but you should be able to go in and to the Da Vinci website at the bottom of the slide and be able to see which courses we are offering this summer and next fall. We offer other things like user experience, user interface, and user-based research. The heart of product development is really falling in love with the problem you have, not the solution, and understanding how any solution that you do develop will serve the need of your user. And those really help you dive down into that, understand how user experience, user interface works, especially in digital products. And in experiences, right? Because there are a lot of processes and experiences that we have in healthcare systems, and that can be very helpful, not just necessarily creating an app. Other things like intellectual property protection, we have lawyers that come in and teach for us, and they teach you about copyright and trademark and patents. How long does it take to do these types of things and actually protect something? What are the needs with that? How do you actually argue your case with the USPTO office? All kinds of things in there. And that is a very, we taught it in 2 weeks this past summer. It was pretty much every day, a couple hours every day, but really helped the students understand how they might protect their work and ideas going forward. We also do Scrum Master certification. If you are unfamiliar with what that is, it is basically a project management methodology that helps you keep a team focused and produce usable iterations and work for a product. Ingrid and I have both gone through that training, and Ingrid, I'm going to let you know this summer we may be offering product owner training first, and then in the fall offering Scrum Master certification again. So yes, nice. More certifications, more opportunities, right? Build that skill set, build that resume. And I already talked about user-based research. So we always publish these online. So as soon as I have that schedule and confirmation of my faculty, we will get that up on the Da Vinci website. Let's see, the next one here is tuition. So tuition can be a little tricky. This one is more or less, it's related to if you are a part of another graduate program, your tuition is related to that program. If you are only part of the certificate program, then you are a School of Nursing student and you pay School of Nursing graduate prices for your tuition. So if you're only in the certificate right now, in-state tuition, pending any changes that might happen coming this May, should be $701 per credit hour for in-state and $1442 for out-of-state. There are other fees and those kinds of things. These are just the whole numbers for per credit hour with tuition, but there is a calculator down at the bottom of this slide where you can go in and choose this program, and will help you calculate according to your parameters what the tuition would be for this actual program. If you are part of the Master of Product Innovation program as well, if you would like to apply for that too, and just go all in and do both of these things, you don't pay anything above and beyond what you pay for the Master of Product Innovation program. We have flat tuition, and the 6 credits you take in the certificate cover the 6 credits of electives that you need in that program. And you can always take more than that and not ever pay more tuition. So basically, once you're at 9 credits, our tuition is capped. And so if you want to take 12 or 15 credits, you can do that in that program, and it doesn't cost you any additional tuition. Mind you, there might be fees, but there's no additional tuition in that space. But if you're, let's say, in an MBA, you're going to pay MBA tuition. If you're a biomedical engineer, you're going to pay biomedical tuition. So it really does relate back. It's kind of a flexible and funny thing to have different tuition for different programs. But that is the standard here at VCU and how that runs. But yeah, and happy to answer more questions about that too, or you can contact financial aid as well. And speaking of financial aid, we have, let's see, is that one yours, Ingrid? You want to take that one?
Sure. Scholarships. The School of Nursing is working to make scholarships available, and that's a very fluid, fluctuating thing. So you check the School of Nursing website to see that. The Da Vinci Center does have scholarships available for students who enroll in the Masters of Product Innovation. I think you just discussed that. Are the MPIs still receiving $5K for scholarship?
It depends on our donors this year. So last year, amid COVID, our donors realized how challenging it is for people to go to school, and gave us enough that we were able to give everyone a scholarship. We are seeing at least 4 or 5 that we're able to give, plus a larger one from the graduate school this next year. So yes, there are scholarships out there.
Okay, so graduate students who qualify for federal financial aid, if enrolled in at least 5 credits of graduate coursework, there's some, does that mean they get financial aid?
Yeah, you have federal aid. So if you're coming from undergrad and applying for a graduate program, you only need to be enrolled in 5 credit hours in order to qualify under the FAFSA to receive federal aid.
Okay, you can also,
as opposed to being full-time like an undergrad, so you don't have to take 9 credits and be a full-time graduate student to qualify for financial aid.
Right. So ELM is a good resource if you want to take out a personal loan. And then there are graduate assistantships, and I believe that you guys use them a lot on the Da Vinci side.
Yeah, pretty often. So we have one official one that provides tuition support that comes through the graduate school. There are also lots of graduate assistantships that provide tuition supports and pretty large stipends that you can find through other programs at VCU. We've had plenty of students who go to work for other departments in order to receive these types of scholarships, but they're usually posted on higher RAMs. So you can look and see, and if it's something you would want to do to receive some financial support, you can either apply through Da Vinci or through higher RAMs. Yeah. All right, next one.
Okay, and the last slide, I believe, except for the keep in touch slide, is what do you need to submit by March 15th? Well, you need application form, and the fee is $70. Yeah. Waivers are available. Contact us. You need 3 references or letters of recommendation, professional and or a academic one. Only names and email addresses are required at the time of application. The actual letters can come later. A statement of purpose of why you're interested in the program, and a resume stating relevant work experience. We also ask for transcripts from all schools attended, and you can submit at this point unofficial transcripts for us to reference before your interview. There is an interview process. We bring you in and we try to figure out and help you navigate what you want to do with the program and how you want to work through it. But official transcripts are needed to fully accept you in the program. So that would be before the first day of class or the week before. But we can interview before you get that.
Yeah, we do need 2 of those letters to come in to do the interview, but in order to click submit, you can upload unofficial transcripts. You just have to ping your universities to send your official transcripts before you click submit, but the system will signal you for that. And yeah, we're trying to make this as simple as possible. There are also questions on there to help prompt you for your statement of purpose. This is meant to be pretty unintimidating. we have very strong faculty and very strong students. But the reason why is because we care a lot about the individuals and the humans who come into this program, and are try to be very deliberate about the cohort that we develop, and making sure that the people who come into this program are a good fit, that you feel like it's a good fit and we feel like it's a good fit. We're not going to mislead you and say, hey, come on over, and not be able to provide what you're looking for in the program. So if you're upfront with us about what you're looking for, we can help you understand whether or not we can fulfill that. But yes, this is, GPAs don't matter as much to us as your professional experience, your statement of intent, your interview. The interview is a lot of fun. We have some really great people on our committee, and we even give you a little bit of an innovation challenge. So we don't tell you what that is until you get there to the interview, but it is kind of fun to explore some creativity, and there are no wrong answers to that challenge. And then our last one, our information to be able to stay in touch, ask questions, follow up for other information if you so choose. And I guess I got to turn it on this one here because I got them on both screens. So, so there's our contact information. Is anyone here have any questions for us? Pop them in the chat if you're comfortable, or unmute and feel free to ask.
You could contact us at any time. We're available. We'd be more than happy to meet with you.
Absolutely. Do we have a...
So I hope you reach your destination, those of you who are driving safely. And very nice to meet the rest of you. And for those of you at home that read this later, we hope to cross paths.
Yes, yes. Hope to talk to you again soon. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.